Okay, so this is part 2 from the last video. Remember how I said the cops are full of shit and we knew they were full of shit? Yeah, they're full of shit. That they didn't know what was going on. Hercules police filed lawsuit. Hercules police faced lawsuit and community backlash over tasing incident. The city of Hercules and 3 police officers are facing a lawsuit claiming that officers used excessive force, including a taser on a man who was unable to respond to the commands because he had just suffered from an epileptic seizure. Channel 2 covered the story about the lawsuit filed this past Friday. In that lawsuit, 22-year-old Jack Bruce says he was on his way to his grandmother's house on April 4, 2024 when he suffered his first ever seizure. As a result, the car he was driving rolled into a ditch just off Refugio Valley Road near Country Run. Other drivers stopped to help. They called 911 to state Bruce was apparently suffering from a seizure. According to the lawsuit, the responding Hercules police officers were informed of this before they encountered Bruce. And we know they were informed, and I'm about to show you here in a minute. The lawsuit alleges that Bruce was unable to effectively respond to the officers' commands while recovering from the seizure, and yet the officers ignored their training, more training, by forcefully removing him from the vehicle and tasing him. Bodycam footage released by TV shows officers cussing as they aggressively handled and tased Bruce while removing him from the driver's seat. And this is just another of the one we've seen. The lawsuit claims the officers later lied in the police reports of the incident, stating they had probable cause to believe Bruce was under the influence and adding that Bruce had attacked them. So we're going to not only lie about when the one said, I don't smell no alcohol, I don't see no alcohol, I don't see no drugs. We're going to write up a report that says we thought he was under the influence, and just because now he's going to jaw back about it, we're going to say he tried to attack us. Bruce said he doesn't remember the incident, telling the news he last remembered being on his way to his grandmother's house. He said injuries he suffered from the incident plagued him for months afterwards. His filing the lawsuit because he doesn't want this to happen to anyone else again. The news also interviewed Bruce's father, John Bruce, who is a senior inspector with the Contra Costa County District Attorney's Office. If they just give him time to recover from what was strictly a medical emergency, then I believe none of this would have happened, John said. Yeah, they ain't got time for that. They ain't got time for that. Investigate, escalate, and retaliate. The case has caused concern in the community, and a statement in response from the Hercules Mayor Dante Hall. The mayor says he understands the concern but was able to provide details of the incident due to the lawsuit and ongoing investigation. He don't have to. We saw it. And I got a half-hour video going to go up. Given that the lawsuit has been filed against the city, we cannot release certain information at this time because it is prohibited by law. It could compromise an ongoing investigation and or because certain facts have not been established with certainty, Hall said, like established what the cops' truths and lies are. We appreciate your understanding in this matter, as it is essential for us to uphold the integrity of the ongoing investigation. Is it? Okay. So, here we are. Is the lawsuit. Plaintiff Jack Francis Bruce, by and through his attorney, Altar Law, and Brent and Fio LLP, and his complaint against defendant states the following. On April 1st, 2024, plaintiff Jack Francis Bruce was driving home after visiting his grandmother when for the first time in his life he suffered a tonic-clonic, previously known as a grand mal brain seizure. Plaintiff's car slowed and rolled to the roadway shoulder and then down a short embankment until it was stopped by small trees. 2 other drivers stopped to assist plaintiff, who was uninjured but unresponsive. One of them ran to plaintiff's car and was able to turn it off and take the keys as plaintiff continued to be in the throes of a seizure. The other called 911 and expressly stated that plaintiff appeared to be having a seizure, a fact that was conveyed by dispatchers to both police and medical responders. Hey, 911, yeah, there's a car over here and it's kind of in a ditch. But the guy, he's, he don't seem hurt. He's unresponsive, and he looks like he's having a seizure. Could you relay that to the dumbasses? I mean, I'm just letting you know that we need somebody out here. And so Dispatch gets on the horn to police and EMS. Hey, this is the location. This is what's going on. PR, which is person responding, said that there's a car in a ditch and the person is unresponsive, but they seem uninjured. Seizure. Having a seizure. That's what the call was. That's what they knew when they were going to the call. Fortunately, the seizure and resulting accident caused no injuries or significant damage. No, it usually don't. You know what usually causes injury and significant damages? When the damn cops show up. While the car accident caused no injuries, the first responders did. 3 Hercules Police Department officer defendants, Angel Garcia, Michael Thompson, and Joshua Goldstein, responded to the scene. All 3 were on notice that plaintiff appeared to be suffering from an epileptic seizure, and when they encountered him, they saw that he was rendered incoherent and unable to respond by the seizure. As they spoke to him, he either spoke nonsense or fell asleep from exhaustion. Yes, and based on their training and fucking experience, they should know that. Training. Post peace officer standard training. They get tons of this training. And then, in order to keep your license, you got to do CE, continuing education. You got to do 8, 10, 12, 16, whatever it is. So many hours a year. I think it's up to 16 now in North Carolina. In a year to keep your license to be a peace officer. It's the same for EMS. I think theirs is 12 hours a year. It's new shit that's coming out, and like, these are the new drugs on the street, and this is what you need to look out for, and this is how you need to respond to it. Doesn't matter. They have zero accountability. All the training in the world, no accountability. Training doesn't matter. The defendants were trained and knew that the last thing an officer should do when dealing with a seizure victim is restrain him, because seizure victims often react instinctively to physical contact. Ignoring this training, they repeatedly poked, prodded, shook, and yelled at plaintiff, ordering him to leave the car. When that did not work, because plaintiff had not yet recovered the ability to understand what was happening around him, they escalated. Of course they do, because they don't have de-escalation training. Maybe they need some training for that. That's bullshit too. They have blocks of de-escalation training. There's no accountability. And began to forcefully extract him from the car. Still suffering from his seizure and confused as to what was happening, plaintiff instinctively resisted the officers. Based on their training, they should have known that was going to happen. This resulted in Thompson unleashing a string of profanities at plaintiff and even his normally protective supervisor, because we back each other and we protect each other, found that unprofessional. Seemed like he would have pulled him back and been like, hey dude, stop, go some fucking work. Matter of fact, you know what? Leave. Unfazed and unmoved by the folly and error of their own behavior, the officers doubled down and forcefully pulled on, punched, kneed, and tased plaintiff, leaving him bloodied by multiple cuts and contusions. Plaintiff suffered back injuries that still plague him months later. To make matters worse, defendants Garcia and Thompson, curiously not joined by Goldstein, composed an incident report that was designed to cover up their senseless use of force by suggesting they had probable cause to believe the plaintiff was driving under the influence. That report contained multiple falsehoods and calculated omissions designed to create the false impression that plaintiff had attacked them and should be charged with criminal offenses, when the truth was quite the opposite. They attacked him. 2 officers' falsehood-ridden reports were submitted to the Contra Costa District Attorney, and as a result caused plaintiff to fear he would face criminal charges for 4 months after the incident, and compounding the stress he was already suffering from his newly diagnosed epilepsy. Plaintiff bring this action to hold defendants accountable for their misconduct and to raise public awareness of the need for law enforcement officers to recognize and appropriately deal with the innocent victims of brain seizures. Well, it doesn't matter. I get the point of them saying that, but they knew. They have, based on their training and experience. You keep hearing training and experience. It doesn't matter. They have no accountability. And had there been no body cameras running, they would be on to their next victim. So this is the end of this one. And also, 90% of people that watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel. I keep saying it. You're at your computer. You got your phone in your hand. Feel free to click the button, like and share, and either you've already seen the video because it's in between them, or it will be at the end of this one. Anyway, I'm out.